Welcome this week to VRBO Outstanding and Vacation Home Mastery. We have part two, an accidental damage protection with Rental Guardian and John Slaughter. So stay tuned. Welcome back this week. It's the finale. It's part two. We're going to go into the details of the accidental damage protection that Rental Guardian offers. Now, this is through owner reservations, but John, Rental Guardian offers this through other PMS systems, don't they? You guys partner with some other people?
We do, yeah. OwnerRes is a fantastic partner and has done an amazing job of integrating our programs deeply into the system for their clientele to use, which makes it a very seamless, easy process. But in the industry, we do connect with other partners out there and software, systems, so that way folks using other programs can also get access to our policies as well.
Great. Now, this insurance, you had mentioned your travel insurance, and the last time we spoke was, underwritten through another party,
Nationwide.
Yes, who underwrites this?
So we have our program is underwritten through the Lloyd's Marketplace with various underwriters that we do A+ rated. Depending, we have access to, because we're an agency in all 50 states, we're the U.S. broker for many of these underwriters. So we are able to bring to the table multiple different underwriters for these programs, which is great because many of the other systems out there are single-based underwriter programs, which means that if that underwriter decides to make a change, you're stuck. If ever one of our underwriters were to make a change and it went against, the things that we wanted to have happen, then we can go out and get another underwriter to be able to review information and create a program that we want to promote in the marketplace. And that's served us well because we have such long-standing relationships with our underwriters that we have really good relationships with these programs that allow us to be able to bring them to the marketplace. So it's pretty awesome to be able to have that flexibility.
Sounds good. Now, I know some of our hosts out there, some will rent shorter term, like a weekend, 2 to 3 night minimum. I'm always 7-night minimum. But there are some, especially here in the Keys, where they have to do monthly rentals. So with your coverage, I believe there is a 30-day cap on that protection. And if someone actually gets like maybe a 2-month guest, is there an option for the accidental damage protection with you guys through that?
Yeah, absolutely. The way that we liken it is that if you bite it off in 30-day increments. So if somebody goes, and wants to come in for 2 months, then you would just have 2. You'd buy it twice or use it twice, charge them twice. So that way it'd be 1 per 30 days. Pretty straightforward with that.
And because your pricing is so spread out, again, $500, $1,500, $3,000, and $5,000, you're really getting that broad spectrum of guests, because for as low as $13 per stay for $500 worth of coverage, that gets you to the more affordable, lower price people. But then if you have a nicer home, $5,000 of coverage for $69 isn't bad. But again, the whole bed bug thing for an extra $10 to me is huge, because this becomes for you guys, right, more like a math problem, right? It's a matter of how many bookings you get, right, and how many good guests you have versus bad guests. So really, you're just hoping that you're getting the better quality guests. Is that correct?
We've seen it all, and with that, there are good. Mostly everybody is good apples out there, but at the end of the day, the vacation rental business, if you were to break it down into some simple terms, you're basically renting homes to strangers from the internet, and you just don't know. The nicest person could come in and just cause the most damage. You just don't know. You do everything you can to try and vet them and make sure that they're going to treat your home the way you'd want it to be treated. But if they don't, that's where this program stands up and protects you and has your back, which is super important when you're dealing with somebody that might, some people might call you up directly and say, hey, we just broke the lamp. What do we do? Those are great people, right? You're like, look, put it in the closet. Which lamp did you break? Okay, we'll bring you a new one. Good to go. But then there's others that will toss it in the trash, and the trash comes, and now all of a sudden the lamp's gone. It's like, well, did they steal the lamp? No, they just broke it. And then when you ask them, hey, where'd the lamp go? You're like, well, I don't know. I don't know where the lamp went. What happened? Either way, we're able to handle those details quickly and easily, so that way you can put the unit back together and get it back on the marketplace.
And you made a great point there, because I know a lot of times we will tell the guests, we line item everything. We put in their accidental damage protection. So if something happens, I get it. Accidents happen. I'm Mr. Accident. So you just let us know. We'll handle it. But there are some things with your program that you don't cover, for instance, like towels or sheets, right?
Yeah, so typical sheets and towels and things would not be a covered item because the life expectancy is just so low. It's like if every time you drove into the grocery store and somebody dinged your car door, you called up and asked for a new car door and or a paint job. It just doesn't make sense for those types of high wear and tear items. They're almost expendable on a daily basis, depending on how they treat them. But for the larger items, bedding, duvet covers, uh, mattress pads, and things of that nature, things with a longer life expectancy, those can't, those are covered. And then, of course, there's some things that, if somebody breaks your rules and breaks the law, then those types of things are typically not covered. Vandalism is one. Or if they were to steal, you rent to somebody and then they backed up a truck and stole items, that would not be covered. However, if the guests were to go to the beach, come back, and there was theft and they're part of the police report, then those items are covered. So there's thoughtful coverage there. It's a difference between, like for instance, a 5-year-old who is not happy with the coloring book and decides to use the wall as their sketch pad, that's covered. The 16-year-old who spray paints a graffiti mural intentionally and vandalizes the home, not covered. So pretty straightforward. And once you use the policy a couple of times, you'll realize the things that are and aren't. And it covers most everything. And there's such a high rate of claims payment that it just becomes a real vital part of your day-to-day operation.
Awesome. Yeah, and I never even thought about the wall versus the graffiti. So because we actually had an issue where we had a young child start to do the crayon, but I guess someone caught him, so it wasn't that big of a deal. We didn't submit the
You just
claim.
got to scrub it off. Yeah.
But a child unattended could cause damage. And I know, look, after a couple of drinks, a woman's doing her nails, because not me, it was an ex-wife. She was doing her nails. She had a few margaritas. Next thing you know, the nail polish goes on the carpet. But it was us using our own house. And to clarify, with OwnerRez and with Rental Guardian, it's when you have a booking. So if you have blocked off time, you're not getting charged for the accidental damage protection, but that also means you're not covered. Also, too, you're able to pause at any time or change the amounts at any time. So one of the things that I know I used to do was spring and summer were just bad. So I would just up the limit and just cover it on everything. And then usually, and this is when I had my house in the Myrtle Beach area, September, October, November, those were the like snowbird types, and it was usually the older crowd. So I either turned it off or lowered the limit, because they really weren't as bad as the young kids were, caused accidents and things like that. So you can always adjust those limits. And so you want to find that sweet spot of, well, you don't necessarily need $3,000 or $5,000 worth of coverage. It's nice to have because the price difference isn't a lot. For $1,500, it's $27. For $3,000, it's $45. And as I mentioned, we upcharge. So we charge, and I think we do the $1,500 coverage. We charge $89 for that. I know some people who get the $3,000 coverage and charge $89 for it. So we put the upcharge on there. And you have to also check with your state, because a lot of states tax this. So when you're doing direct bookings, you need to make sure that that is added to the tax line item. What we had talked about previously with the bed bugs, John, I kind of want to ask, how often do you guys get claims on the bed bugs? I mean, is this a common thing or not so much?
I mean, with our growth over the past, 3 years in particular, Um, we have seen more and more bed bug claims, just because we have a much larger book of business overall. It's something that many times when I speak to thousands of property managers every year, and in my discussions, when I mention bed bugs, it's usually one that they've had an experience with one to a few types. It's not something that's as day to day like stains on carpets or things of that nature, but we do see it quite frequently where there's bed bug situations, and like I said, many times they're trucked in versus growing organically, because property managers are usually also keeping up on all of their maintenance, monthly maintenance with regards to spraying for those types of things and making sure they're free of those types of situations. The last thing you want is that reputation of having that. So yeah, it's becoming more frequent just because of the size of our book of business. But it's not something that you see every day. It's something that you see, more frequently, but not as often as like the day-to-day damages that guests leave.
And what's interesting is you had mentioned last episode about the guest will truck it in from another place. Like they might be in Vegas for a couple of days, then they come to your rental and they got them from being in that hotel in Vegas. And that is almost always the case. They always bring them in from an outside source. It's not that they're dirty people. It's just they cling to you, and then you got them, and it's just a nightmare. But yeah, it's something that is a concern. And when you're a homeowner, the last thing you want is to have a feeling as though you're exposed. But I want to talk real briefly about air cover and Airbnb's protection, because they offer this $1 million worth of coverage, which they don't cover that much. And then you have to go to them and then give them pictures, and then they talk with the guest what happened. And then, of course, you give them the invoices, and a lot of times they don't cover everything. And I'll be totally transparent. For all the years I've been with Airbnb, I've never gone to air cover for a claim. And that's because I've gone to either your accidental damage protection, or in rare instances, taken it out of a deposit when it was something that was intentional. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of mention that, because you had talked about briefly about um, the interaction that other like VRBO has with the guest. And this just makes it an easy way, because as soon as you reach out to Airbnb's air cover, remember there's a 2-week window, right? And then there's also a 2-week window for the review. You don't want to get dinged. And so, John, I just want to have you briefly mention something about that, about your process where the guest just doesn't get involved. They don't even know what happened because it's done in the back end.
Yeah, that's a big key. Years and years ago, we used to have a similar program, like the programs offered where the guest is the covered party. And we realized very quickly that our clientele are the property managers and their homeowners, and those folks, being our clients, are also dealing with guests that might be like not answering the phone, or not wanting to get involved, or feeling like they're going to have some blowback on them somehow, some way. And so we went out and created this program long before anybody else really was with it in the marketplace, and became that provider of and defender of property managers and homeowners in that respect, because we created a program that allowed them to, just during the day-to-day business of being a property manager or homeowner and renting your home as a business, to be able to have a fundamental, easy, quick way to be able to handle these day-to-day occurrences that happened. And then when we expanded it with the bed bug protection and the liability protection as a bundle, we really hit a home run with that, because we then realized, somebody might come and get injured, and the property manager or whoever's in charge might not even know that happened. They might have slipped and tripped and took pictures of a walkway, and then 6 months later, now all of a sudden magically you've got a liability claim claiming that you're liable for their injuries because it was dimly lit and there was ice on the walkway. And what do you do in those situations? Well, if you have business insurance, that's great, but with that, having a layer of protection in there for those particular types of instances is just sort of, it's not perfect, obviously, nothing ever is, but it's about as good as you can get with regards to having the trifecta of coverage, for one low price. And most people, when they see that, they're like, well, kind of a no-brainer, right? For the additional cost, why wouldn't I have that additional layer of protection? So.
And excellent. And that segues me into just a reminder that our Vacation Home Mastery course, only $97. It's a full money back guarantee. If you don't get more money and more bookings using this course, you get your money back. Okay. It's going to go back up to $297 January 1st. So now is the time to get it. So before we actually close this out, John, again, we use OwnerRez. We integrate with you guys with the API integration there. We offer the travel protection. We had a couple of episodes on. We offer the accidental damage protection with you guys as well. We protect our guests and our hosts as much as possible with your programs. We appreciate you. And I kind of want to give you, I guess, a parting word or two to the hosts out there about your services and what you offer, so that we can help others out there that are like us that didn't know you were out there until we needed you.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, and it's great being here. Rental Guardian has been around for almost, I'm going to say, close to 13 years now. And we are actually a travel tech company with an API solution that delivers and processes and manages insurance products. And in doing that, we have our insurance agency, InsureStays, that's licensed in all 50 states and is the U.S. broker for all of these different underwriters that we do business with, to be able to provide these programs quickly and easily within the travel tech platforms like OwnerRez and such, to be able to give access to property managers and homeowners to be able to use these products. And then when you have to use them and interact with them, our technology allows for it to be quick and seamless. So that way, we are, if you had to sum it up, we make insurance easy. And by doing so, allow you to focus on the day-to-day operations and making sure that your units are the best and you give the best guest experience. And when something goes wrong, you have a source to be able to get it done and handled quickly, to be able to get back to that good feeling of providing that great guest experience, which is what drives more business. And then, of course, us, by being a good partner to you, we receive more policies because you have that ability to provide that good guest experience. So we are your right-hand man, so to speak, or I guess I should say right-hand person, because we're not all men at Rental Guardian. We have some fabulous leaders in our company across the board, but let us be there for you when you need us, and we won't let you down.
John, again, you guys have definitely made it super easy. You make and allow us to do direct bookings with confidence, with security, with ease, and professionalism. When a guest checks out and they have the travel option, they have the accidental damage protection, they feel as though this isn't some hokey guy offering his vacation rental to anyone, and you get there and maybe the house isn't what it seems to be, or maybe it isn't even his house. The whole package with the checkout process with OwnerRez and the Rental Guardian for the travel insurance and accidental damage protection, to me, just makes us more successful. So thank you. And again, I thank you for your time once again. We've eaten up a lot of your time, but hopefully our hosts out there could jump on board and utilize these products. So again, thanks. I want everyone to take a look at our direct book videos, because this is what we use to cover our tails with direct bookings: signed rental agreements, accidental damage protection, deposits. We do that with Airbnb, VRBO, and direct bookings. This is your trifecta for success. Remember, hit like and subscribe below. We're going to see you again next week with VRB Outstanding and Vacation Home Mastery courses to make you successful. Thanks again, John.
My pleasure. Take care.